you're out there shopping for a sofa, you want to make sure you are doing it right because it's a big purchase. So, Brian, we are going to go through some tips to think about when you're shopping for this sofa.
Yes.
And you want to make sure that you're doing it right because this sofa is a crucial part of your furniture.
It's probably the biggest investment in the room, and it's where you sit and you want to be comfortable, so you want to make sure it's going to last and be comfortable.
Now, how long are we sitting on our sofas for?
Well, the rule is that we sit on our sofas for about 4 hours a day. Mine probably 7, but 4 hours a day is the average that people sit on their sofas.
Okay, that's a lot, and it sustains a lot as well.
Yes, you spill on your sofa 1,600 times during the lifetime of a sofa.
1,600 times. So
yes.
You want to think about the material that you are picking for your sofa.
Yes. Try not to eat too much on the sofa or not be intoxicated while you're eating and drinking. So that is...
That's where all the fun happens on the sofa.
I know, but it's very messy when you're drunk.
Let's do a little... It is. Let's do a little true or false with the audience. I'm going to test you guys, okay? Yes. I'm going to ask you some questions and you tell me what the answer is. It's typically a bad idea to use sofas up on legs in a small space. Typically a bad idea to use sofas up on legs in a small space. Is this true or false? I'm going to say false. Most of you say false. Who's right?
They're right. You should use legs. Yes. So a sofa like the one we're sitting on is up on legs. That really works well in it works well in any space, but in a small space particular because it doesn't have that bulk.
Right.
And it has a lightness to it. So
there's some air can go through, right?
Yes, yes.
How about this one? Leather is one of the easiest sofa fabrics to care for. True or false? Oh, you're kind of mixed on that one.
They're half and
What is it, Bri?
It's true. Leather really is.
Yes. Think about all the spills you can spill on leather. You can spill soda on leather. That's right. Just wipe it.
But you know, there's certain leathers, so you have to be careful because most leathers are aniline dyed, where the dye goes right through, and they're treated a lot.
Yeah.
But there are some leathers like super kid skin and things like that that are very fragile. So when you're buying leather, you have to think about it because if you take your nail and you do a little mark on it, you'll see that's going to be a leather that sort of patinas and ages. If you don't like that look, don't buy that leather.
That. Yeah.
With oil, it comes off a bit, but you have to just take out your nail a little bit on the side. Not like dig it in, but you'll see how that sofa is going to perform.
Yeah, you don't want to be disappointed in that respect.
No.
Okay, to maintain your sofa, you should flip and fluff the cushions every 2 weeks. Is that true or is that false? I'm going to say false to that. Most of you say true.
True. The trues are right.
True? Every 2 weeks?
Well, you really, believe it or not, you should fluff your back cushion every time you sit on it. So when you
like this cushion?
Yeah, so every time you get up.
I beat that cushion up every single time.
Because you'll see sofas where this line is like down here, and this line goes down, and this whole thing rolls, what we call this rolling over.
Yeah.
So when I get up from the sofa, you want to just make sure that it's back.
Yes.
And you really should fluff it at least every 2 weeks, if not every week, because what will happen is this panel will go back to where it's supposed to be if you keep flipping it.
Yeah.
So when it starts to move down, you'll flip it over and it'll move back in the other direction.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys. My kids are doing gymnastics on the sofa. Like, I gotta put the cushions back in place every single time. They're all over the sofa. Okay, you don't need to vacuum your sofa regularly. Is this true or false? You do not need to vacuum. Oh, they're all saying false and I say true.
You do need to vacuum your sofa.
You do, huh?
Regularly.
Regularly, just like a rug.
Yes. I even vacuum my mattress.
Oh!
Yes.
You always take us to a crazy level, Brian.
I know.
Come on.
But I was just vacuuming the sofa the other day.
Were you?
I was.
I never did.
And yes, you want to get the dust out of it.
Yeah.
And you know, with mattresses, it's skin and things like that. But you want to get, especially if you're spilling on it 1,600 times.
Yeah, it's
you
true.
really want it, but vacuum it and it's going to extend the life. But you'll sit in someone's house and you'll go like this and there's like a puff of smoke.
Ew!
You know they are not good housekeepers.
Okay.
Don't eat in that house.
Let's talk a little bit about the different varieties of sofas out there and what you need to be looking at. So one thing you might look at is as a tight back or loose cushions on the back of a sofa. We've got pictures to sort of show you what that means.
So this is a loose pillow back, a toss pillow back. This is very comfy, but a lot of maintenance. So if you love the softness of that, if you like to really squish into the corner, this is a great sofa. But you have to fluff those cushions all the time for it to look nice.
Okay, you got to be fluffing them up.
Yes.
What about this other style that we have in this picture? So what's happening?
That's a tight back. So that's when you see where there's no back cushion on it. It is a tight back. It's almost like this sofa without the back cushion. It's good for people that like a firmer back and sit upright. Great in living rooms also because they tend to be a little shallower and very neat. So if you're a neat freak, tight backs are it because they always look nice and neat.
Although it also feels very formal. It looks like you're just sitting like this.
They are a little uptight, but they look great. But to soften it, you always put a few cushions off to the sides so you can sit like this and be comfortable.
Lean a little. Okay, let's talk about tufting and skirting. Here's an example of tufting right here.
Yes, this is a sofa we did, and the tufted back is somewhat soft. It's not as soft as a loose back. Always looks neat. It's a real trend, mixing that traditional tufted with sort of modern elements. So we're seeing tufting come along. Tufting on the seat, it's a really firm sofa. So that mix of a loose seat and a tufted back gives you a little bit of both.
And then with the skirting as well, let's take a look at this next picture so we can see what that looks like.
Well, this one, we're going to get to the skirt, but this one I want to show you first. That is a single seat cushion.
And is that more comfy? Is it a little bit more formal?
It's a little more modern looking. You get that nice seat cushion, but you have to be prepared that that cushion doesn't look like that all the time. Because if you always sit in this side, you're going to get like that little divot. You have to fluff it up. So when you're doing a single seat cushion, be prepared that it's not always going to look as tight as smaller cushions. But I love the look of that.
We have the single seat cushion, but then I make sure I nap on both sides.
Correct. Yes.
That way, it makes sense. Finally, let's look at this. This is the skirting now. You can see the way the bottom rolls there. What's that called?
So that's called a waterfall skirt. We're used to the skirt being a little skirt at the bottom. This is where the skirt starts right at the deck underneath the cushion and comes down. So a waterfall skirt is a little more sort of a modern skirted sofa, a little cooler. We tend to use that all the time. And then that was a 3/3. We call it 3/3. 3 seat cushions, 3 back cushions, or 2/2. But that is the most traditional. But with that full waterfall skirt, it's just a little more modern for a traditional sofa.
Very nice. Okay, I know that you guys have been scoping out all the furniture. We want to mention that, Brian, your Gluckstein home furniture line is available at Hudson's Bay, and it is